Yeah, I mean, Iranian student leftists, I mean, in Iran and in diaspora, they were very worldly. They were studying revolutionary movements all over the world, historical as well as more contemporary movements, because I think the feeling was that there were all these different models. Was Iran going to be like, was it like the Chinese model? Was it going to be like was it like Algeria? Was it, what about the Russian Revolution? They studied and they debated, and a lot of the factionalizing and splits that happened within the Confederation had to do with which different revolutionary idea, or what version of Marxism did you adhere to, and all of that. And I can talk more about the splits and divisions if people are interested. But the point was that there was this feeling that there were all these models to choose from, and the question was which was going to be the right one for Iran. And then, of course, what actually happened in the Iranian Revolution didn't fit any of those models, and none of the leftists saw it coming or understood it very well, right? So all of these models and studying really, it sort of became irrelevant to what happened in Iran, number one. Number two, many of those countries that they'd been studying as models ended up in their own forms of authoritarianism, and in many ways, in many cases, became neo-colonies of the US and really only had nominal independence at the end of the day, right? So there's a kind of course, today, I mean, what models do we have, right? This is we're really, if there was an abundance of models, flawed though they were back then, now I think many people have written about this. We don't have examples to point to where we go, that's a society that I would like to live in. They really figured it out, right? In fact, we have, the collapse of official communism decades ago. We have, China as a massive capitalist and imperialist power, and it's, like all the old models have kind of betrayed all of their best principles anyway. And so in some ways we're unburdened by, having to follow a party line or having to, apply something to Iran in that kind of doctrinaire way. We're unburdened by the orthodoxies and rigidities of some of these parties and ideologies. On the other hand, we're very weak. We're not organized, we don't have a coherent ideology. We don't have agreement. We don't have a coherent, political plan or strategy. I think that there's a lot of ideas within Iran, and certainly among feminist organizations, about the kind of society we would like to see in Iran, the kinds of freedom and democracy and commitments to equality for all that people would like to see. But we don't have a lot of strategies around power. How do you actually achieve it? How do you dislodge the government in power? And I think that it's both the desperation and the confusion and lack of ideological coherence that produces a lot of the kinds of polarizations in the diaspora, right? Where people are kind of looking for someone really powerful to come and help them, or something like that, right? And can lead to many other kinds of problems. Yeah.